Hi everyone, this is Dr. Essie Stacey, helping you to be well. Hi everyone, not quite sure why the camera stopped working. Let's do the other one. There we go. Right, so hope everyone's able to log in and just wait a little while. There's a delay on the camera between me and you, but really excited about today, and that's because it's really simple. Today is really simple, but when I've been doing all the research and everything behind some of the simple stuff in my kitchen, it has blown me away. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. If it's your first time, then I'll type in into the chat. Do type in the chat and say hello. Let me know that you're there. Let me know that I'm not alone on this webinar. And so first up, we've got figs. And so I'm going to be covering figs. I'm going to be covering garlic, and I'm going to be covering kind of a few little bits in between. So, keep your eyes peeled for what's in my kitchen again. Still waiting for somebody to say hello in the chat. Thank you. And for others, thank you, Luke. Thank you, Catherine. Any more hellos? Any more hellos? Yeah, hi Joe. Great. So we were live. We're going. Okay. So very brief video on figs. So this is my hob, kind of. Bit of kombucha, there's some fermenting lemons there, there's some garlic fermenting in kombucha, and this one is figs and olive oil, because a friend of mine, Nadia, who's Moroccan, she told me about this, that she made a concoction of figs and olive oil, and you leave it steeping in there for a bit, and then you eat the figs. And she was saying it got rid of her back pain. Yeah, got rid of her back pain. So, very brief. I did say it was going to be very brief, that one. And the reason it's very brief is because I think that statement that figs dipped in olive oil got rid of my friend's back pain. Now, I've known my friend Nadia for many years, and she had back pain a lot, and she was off work a lot with the back pain. So I know that it was a proper issue. And then when she came to stay with me in the UK, back pain had gone. No back pain, no time off work. So what is the thing with figs? So does anybody know? Anybody had experience of figs apart from maybe helping them to go a little bit? Anyone know anything about figs? As I'm preparing to bring the iPad forward. Let's see. So let's move on to the next bit. Put that in there. Yeah, so we've got a no there for people appearing to know anything about figs. So anyway, so let's have a look. Let's have a look. Figs and olive oil. So again, if you're really interested in the research papers, these are down here. And if you want the slides at all, then do let me know. Email me afterwards, and I can send you the slides through. So figs and olive oil have this compound called lupiol in them. And like, what's lupiol? Who knows? They say it's a triterpene. You get these triterpenes in many types of things like mushrooms and stuff like that. But again, it's a compound. It's a bioactive compound that you find in figs and olive oil. Now, what else is important about it, about lupiol, is that it is anti-inflammatory. It is anti-arthritic. So maybe that's where the back pain reduction comes from. It's anti-cancer and it's anti-malarial. Still some more antis. It's also antimicrobial and it's analgesic. So if you think of most of the issues that we all have in day-to-day life, they're to do with inflammation and pain. And so it seems to me that figs and olive oil, if we could incorporate these into our daily lives, then we'd be on to a winner. Let's carry on. So studies have looked at the leaves, fig leaves, fruit, and the stem bark. And the important things are these polyphenols, flavonols. These are the antioxidants, the things that you also find in the skins of grapes and in berries and stuff like that. These are polyphenols, flavonols. But in the studies, they found that that fruit had the highest amount of anti-inflammatory action, the highest amount of anti-diabetic action, so blood sugar lowering action, and the highest amount of anti-obesity action as well. So I mean, for me, this is pretty astounding, because fruit, figs particularly, ripe figs, they're fruit, they're sugar, all of that, but they've got these amazing actions. So as I've been saying in the previous webinars, that we're not to overly demonize sugar. If we look at these specific fruits, then we're just gaining a little bit more information. And let's do another one for figs, to do with bone and joints. And several studies, again, they're given at the bottom, and they found that fish oil and olive oil were better than just fish oil for bone and joint problems, so arthritis and things like that. They found that olive oil reduces pain, so it's an analgesic, just as we said before in the summary. And fig extract inhibits bone loss. So in the study, they talk about osteoclasts. Osteoclasts are cells that break down bone. So if the fig extract, the stuff that's coming out the fig, basically inhibits bone, it stops that bone loss happening. So that's important in rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, or if you've got osteopenia. And also this dental bone loss. You can get, with inflammation, you can get the bones around the teeth sort of resorbing, decaying away. If you like, it's not decay, but it's just losing its vigor. And so, maybe we should be introducing figs into our lives. We've got a fig tree which we planted just a couple of years ago, and it's giving us fruit. So there's no excuse. If you've got a garden, you can plant a fig tree. So I would say go with that. Good. Let's. So my camera doesn't want to work well. Let's just. Sorry. Getting rid of this somehow. Anyway, seem to have a half a black screen with this one, with my default. Okay, so any questions on that? Anyone? Any questions at all on the figs? You know, apart from using it to, you know, I don't know, what do people use figs for right now? Are you using figs for anything? Is it a forgotten fruit? Yeah. Let's have some conversation on figs. If there's silence on figs, everyone's saying hello, but no one using figs. So maybe I'm onto a winner, and we need to start, you know, incorporating figs into our lives. So next up is maybe garlic, a bit of garlic coming on. So let's put that video on. So I want to show you what's in this cupboard with all my pots and things, my glass pots. I've got some garlic that has been fermenting away in there. I'll bring that out to show you. There we go. So you can see there are whole garlics in kombucha. I'm making kombucha garlic vinegar. If you were following me at the last Essie's Kitchen, then I would have shown you my garlic, and I'm going to just bring that out and just show you that properly. So this is my garlic oil, and that probably needs topping up a little bit so that all the garlic is under the oil. And then what I do, that's been going on there for months. And then what I do is I pour it out into one of these, and really it should be in a dark container or kept in the cupboard, not on the countertop. So yeah, so that's 2 types of garlic, and I'm going to show you how to make them so easy with garlic. And the first thing to do is to blanch these in boiling water for about a minute, and that's to get rid of all the nasties on top. So I'll do that. And there they are. I'll leave those in there and just make sure that all of the bits they get covered. And obviously if there's some really dirty bits, then you're going to take those off. I think that's okay. That's fine. So leave that for a minute and then get rid of the water. So that's them. I've emptied the water out of there, and I'm going to show you just so easy. In it goes. And I'm going to do the kombucha version. So I've got some old tea in there, just to show you what I do, just how easy this is. I think a leaf went in. Tea, right? Vinegar, kombucha vinegar, so old vinegar, old kombucha. Use apple cider vinegar if you want to, but it's got to be with the mother, you know. But really, you need to be making your own. And then I'm going to add a teaspoonful of honey to that. There's the honey, and I'll mix that into there. The honey's going to feed the bugs, but it's also, the honey is just an amazing anti-inflammatory bioactive substance all on its own. So we'll do that. Now ideally that needs to go under the water, or you make sure you just fill it up to the brim or pack more garlic in so that it doesn't float to the surface, because anything that's open to the air is then going to ferment with the bugs that are in the air. So really you want them under the water. So either I fill this up a little bit more. This was Cistus tea that I had, Cistus and mint. Cistus in itself is a wonderful tea. So that's gone in a bit more, and then I'll put that under. I'll label it, and really you leave that for a good few months. But what you can do is after maybe a month, start tasting it to see whether it's garlicky, and the longer you leave it, the stronger it is. And you're either going to use that in your cooking, or you can use it as a shot to give you a bit of a kick if you're not feeling too good. A few technical issues today. Great, so how do we find that? Easy, understood what I was getting at with the garlic. Yeah, let me know. Let's have a look just at some of the comments about the fig. So Catherine said that she has fig jam now and again. That's one way to have it, and I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's just that you're making it with more sugar with the jam. And if you could, a good way, I guess, is just to ferment it, because you're going to get some of the sugars, come being brought out of the fig in the early stages if you ferment a ripe fig, and kind of create, it won't be a jam per se, but it will be, like a sauce, a coulis type thing. So I guess that would be an idea to use that. I guess you could make it in more sort of gelatinous if you used Cantenia. I don't know if anyone saw the webinar where I used the Japanese noodles, which are made from seaweed. There's a powder that goes with that, and it's agar jelly type thing. You could mix that with fermented fig, and you would get a kind of like a jam, wouldn't you? So that would be a way forward for figs. And Bussy says, personally haven't used figs, but you've inspired me to give them a try, especially with those health benefits. Great. And so with the garlic, I just wanted to, so what I showed you on the video was the kombucha version, and I hope that was really clear. And I hope we're all making our own kombucha now, because it's so simple, and then you can use it in these types of recipes. Let's have a look. Rich and Kath saying, did you say old tea and kombucha and honey? Ideally for 5 months, just checking. So I basically just used some old tea that was sitting there. But you could have used fresh kombucha. You could just put some sweetish kind of kombucha into the garlic. You could have just done it that way. And then I stuck a bit of honey in there as sugar to feed the whole mixture. Again, you don't have to do that, but when we're looking at how amazing honey is, then I think a little bit of honey in there is gonna work wonders. So, and it's 5 months. Well, basically, my kombucha, one that you saw there in the video, had been going on for about a year. And I tend to take some stuff out and then top it up again with more kombucha and more honey, or just sugar, raw cane sugar, and it will keep fermenting, and you're getting a kind of a slightly different look. And then every now and again, I'm like, okay, we'll change these the old this old garlic. And what some people do is they just take the garlic out and cook with it, so you can play around with it. It does get a bit mushy in there and I've used whole garlics. The reason I've used whole garlics is because there is more antioxidant stuff in the skin than there is in the actual garlic. So That's why I just blanch the outside of the garlic and then use the whole thing, because the whole thing is useful, is very important. So yeah, you saw me using like old tea. The reason I used a bit of old tea and then some kombucha, and that was because the kombucha itself has the microbes in it. So you've got your ferment, and then you're using the usual food for the kombucha is the tea with extra, which is the garlic. So that's how I just put a bit of tea in there and gave the mixture some ferment, which is the kombucha. And of course, if you're doing the olive oil version is more sort of a steeping it in. It's not a steeping, that's not quite a word, but the infusing the oil with the garlic, and you're letting the garlic sit and infuse over time. I sometimes do add a bit of kombucha to that to try and get a bit of ferment going. I'm not sure whether it does or not. But the garlic side of it is the same thing. You're going to blanch the garlic, let it cool down so it's not hot, and then add olive oil to it. Keep it in a dark place. Olive oil likes to be in cool, dark places. It doesn't like to be on the countertop. It doesn't like to be in heat. So you've got those two sort of garlic options. And of course, now you've got the fig oil option. And just to say with the fig, what I didn't say was that how do you eat it then? So what she was saying is that the way you eat it is you would take between 1 and 3 of those figs a day, and you would have that fig before your meal. And that's what she did. She would have between 1 and 3 before her meal. And it got rid of her back pain for that. I'm still like incredulous, apart from the fact that the research is clear in that research that it has an anti-arthritic effect. And obviously you're having it with the olive oil that also is having an anti-inflammatory, anti-arthritic, analgesic. Analgesic means it gets rid of the pain, So, we need to be getting these figs. And also, Catherine was asking, do you use fresh figs? You can use dry figs. The ones that you saw in my kitchen there were dry figs, and the ones that she used were dry figs as well. So I'm hoping that's answering everyone's questions. Do post more questions. Let me go through some. Regina. So the answer is doesn't matter. If you've got fresh ones, use fresh ones. If you haven't, use dry ones. Yeah. Let's have a look at the slides. So salad dressing and garlic. Just want to bring this to our attention, the importance of salad dressing. So first of all, let's have a look at some the stuff that the papers are talking about. And basically, the papers are showing that if you have a mixture of olive oil and honey, or actually either of them on their own, but they're synergistic. So that means that they are, the 1 + 1 makes more than 2 when you add them together. So they increase the HDL in the blood. So the HDL is the so-called good cholesterol, right? So having olive oil and honey increases the good cholesterol. What else does it do? It reduces the triglyceride. So triglyceride, when you have your cholesterol checked, you're going to get your total cholesterol, you're going to get your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, which everyone focuses on, which is not the thing to focus on. You'll get your good cholesterol, which is the HDL, which people hardly ever focus on, and people never focus on the triglyceride. But triglyceride is a fatty acid, but it shows you really how much inflammation there is going on. If you like, it's a metabolic inflammation. Metabolic means that your body's inflammation. And it's another look at inflammation, because your inflammation markers themselves, and if we've got any medics or whatever, the ESR and the CRP may actually be normal, but the triglyceride tends not to lie. And so the triglyceride will tell us how inflamed you are. And olive oil and honey reduces that. So it will reduce that inflammation. And what else happens? So olive oil and honey also reduce the fasting blood glucose. So the glucose goes down in your blood. So when your glucose goes up, if it goes up too much, you've got diabetes. So it reduces all of that. It basically is acting, the two of them together, acting in a kind of an anti-inflammatory way. That's what they're doing. Okay. What else do they do? Olive oil and honey together. They are protective against renal damage, it's kidney damage induced by drugs. So in one of these studies at the bottom there, they would have damaged the kidneys of some poor rats with drugs, and they would then check to see what is the effect of giving them olive oil and honey. And so the olive oil and honey, if they were having a diet that had olive oil and honey in it, then it would be protective against those rats getting damage in their kidneys. So which means that it's an anti-inflammatory or antioxidant action, which is quite important. That's, olive oil and honey. Let's just say that again. Olive oil and honey, doing all of this. And if you go to your doctors and your cholesterol's up the spout, they're going to put you on statins for life. If your blood sugar's out of control, they're going to label you diabetic, might give you drugs for that, even insulin. And then if your kidneys are damaged, you're up the creek without a paddle. So what's not to love? So this is really interesting. So I always find it quite funny when you see patents in for normal things that you would have in your kitchen. So there's this, if you look on Google patents, there's this patent for a supplement that has garlic, vinegar, olive oil, and honey in it. So basically, I'll go to it because it's very fun. Basically, the patent is for weight loss and lowering blood pressure. So they've got this supplement that reduces your weight and lowers your blood pressure. So let's have a look. I know it's really tiny, but I just wanted to show you what this is. If you clicked on the link, you'll get taken to this Google patent page. And it's saying, look, a unique garlic food supplement. And it can be made in tablet form, capsules, oils, powders, liquids, and as an extract. And they're saying this unique combination of powdered garlic, neutralized vinegar, olive oil, and honey, prepared in the capsule, tablet, etc., says the neutralized vinegar combined with is synergistic for increasing the effectiveness of garlic for safe weight reduction. So it's basically saying that the garlic helps you to reduce your weight, and the vinegar has an added effect on top of that. And then it says, in addition, the product is believed to give a significant lowering of blood pressure and assisting the body in alleviation of inflammation of joints and numerous other disorders which have been reported for garlic itself. And they're saying in their thing that the sugars from the honey basically countermask the strong garlic flavour in their particular patent. But basically, they're patenting salad dressing, aren't they? They've got vinegar, olive oil, honey, garlic, and basically then they're freeze drying it in and compressing it into a tablet or putting it into a capsule. That's what they're doing. So it's salad dressing. Let's bring back salad dressing. So in France, when we used to live in France, the French would have these massive salads. There's always this huge salad, and the salad dressing was important. You know, salad dressing with what? With olive oil, with vinegar, with honey or some kind of sugar, and garlic maybe not in there, and lemon, some kind of lemon, lime. That's salad dressing. So everything that we've been talking about, the anti-inflammatory effect, blood pressure lowering, blood glucose lowering, improving your triglyceride profile, your cholesterol profile, it's all in the salad dressing. Yeah. So, bring back in France. So French are very close behind Japan, or they used to be, in terms of longevity and health. So, and they're really big on their salads. So let's get back to the summer now. We can practice, get some organic lettuce and pour on that salad dressing. So the other thing I wanted to say about this combination of ingredients is that it makes me also think of SIBO. SIBO is small intestinal bowel overgrowth. So what that is that you've got your upper gut and your lower gut. So your upper gut is your stomach, where the food gets to first. And that is not supposed to have very many microbes in it. It's supposed to be reasonably sterile. But when you start getting leaky gut, gut dysbiosis, you end up getting microbes up there that are not supposed to be there. The microbes are supposed to be in your large intestine, in your colon. They're supposed to be, that's where the action's supposed to be when it comes to the microbes. And when you start to get this overgrowth at the top, that's when you start getting symptoms. You may be getting symptoms of indigestion, of bloating, of gas, of diarrhea, constipation. All of those can be related to SIBO. Now, the interesting thing about SIBO is that a lot of the weight, so you can go and get a hydrogen breath test. You blow into the thing and it measures how much hydrogen is given off and methane and stuff, and it will give you a diagnosis or not of SIBO. And if you're diagnosed with that, then you might be prescribed antibiotics and to kill off the stuff that's in the upper gut. But of course, these guys all will do that as well. Remember, we were saying that they were antimicrobial. The olive oil, the vinegar, the honey, the garlic, and the lemon are all antimicrobial. They all kill things off. So maybe by having our salad dressing each day, what we're doing is just making sure that we keep the upper gut free of microbes that are not supposed to be there. Maybe, just maybe, that's what we're doing with our salad dressing. So so any questions related to all that? Because it's face cream next, but any questions on that? And so let's see. Regina said, are the recipes for fig and garlic oils on your slides? Regina, they're not, because basically it's fig mixed with olive oil, or it's garlic and olive oil. And the only preparation, you don't need any preparation for the fig and garlic oil, because you're gonna maybe wash the figs, and if they're dry, I wouldn't even do that. If they're new and fresh, I would, but if they're dry, I probably wouldn't do that, and just pour olive oil on top. And for the garlic, you're going to blanch them. That means you put them in hot water for about a minute to kill off any of the nasties on the outside. If you're really worried about the figs, you can do that as well. And then you're going to add the garlic or add your kombucha. And would you tend to use a nice cider vinegar? You can use a cider vinegar, no problem in doing that at all. I just want to get you all making your own kombucha. If you were listening last week, when I was talking about the gut, why am I sick, the gut, remember where I talked about frequency and the gut and how kombucha protects you from harmful frequencies. I mean, it's a bit like, garlic warding off evil spirits. We're going to have the garlic and then we hold the kombucha up to protect us from the EMFs or something. I just think it's a simple thing and we should all be making our own kombucha. And then Yvonne's saying, how can we get seaweed? Seaweed, do you mean seaweed? I don't think I use... Oh, the Cantania seaweed. You're going to get that from Japanese store. Same place where you're going to get... the same place where you're going to get your shoikoji from is where you get seaweed. So yeah, in the salad dressing, yeah, absolutely. Or I don't even use it. I still use kombucha. Just use the stuff that's gone vinegary in the salad dressing. Or yes, apple cider vinegar you can use. Great. So Yvonne just ordered your kit. That's fantastic. Any other questions before we go on to face creams? I hope you've all understood that and hopefully going to report back your infusions and your new shots. Okay, so let's go on to face cream. The other thing I've got in my cupboard, I want to show you here, is beeswax. So what might you say is she doing with beeswax? So there you go, bit of beeswax there, and I've cut a bit off for you to see, and I'm going to melt the beeswax, because let's see if I can see it. I can find it in the fridge. Keep it in the fridge. Where is it? Can I see it? Yeah, here it is. Back here. Nope, not that one. Oh. La la la. Don't be dumb. Talk amongst yourselves. It's back there. Back there. So there it is. This is what I use my beeswax with. Right. So face cream. I'm not going to do the whole caboodle for you today, but I do want to talk about the beeswax a little bit. So I just wanted to do a brief look at garlic, olive oil, honey and beeswax just in the middle of the cooking. So garlic oil is really important, and it has this broad spectrum, so it means it kills lots of different bugs. And it's really important for gut health. So there's this condition called SIBO, which is small intestinal bowel overgrowth, which means the small intestine is at the top, the large intestine at the bottom. And you get an overgrowth of microbes in your upper gut. You're not supposed to have hardly any microbes in your upper gut. And that gives you symptoms. It might be IBS symptoms, it might be bloating, it might be indigestion, that type of stuff. And garlic oil been shown to be good for that. It's also good for H. pylori. H. pylori is what's been shown to be to cause ulcers. So if you go and get an H. pylori test, they tell you've got an ulcer, going to put you on antibiotics for 3 months. So garlic oil might just save you from that. And when you look at, if I just move now to, if I put olive oil, honey, and beeswax into Google Scholar, which is where a whole load of the research papers are stashed, you get pages and pages like this, right? So let's just have a look. So this one is looking at fungal infections, pityriasis, tinea. Tinea is like, athlete foot type thing. Tinea cruris is in the crotch. Tinea corporis is on the body. Tinea faciae is on your face. And it's saying honey, olive oil, and beeswax is going to be good for that. They're looking at that one at hemorrhoids and anal fissures. And then there's always it's always interesting when you find Google patents on this stuff, because it's basically researchers somewhere found that this stuff is really useful and they're going to make a cream or something like that out of it. And then looking at olive oil, honey, berries, and their relevance in prevention of cancers and cardiovascular diseases, so heart diseases. So when we summarize the olive oil, honey, beeswax, and garlic, right, antimicrobial, yeast, fungal, bacteria, broad spectrum, different bugs they get rid of. Important for the skin, dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, infections on the skin, mouth ulcers, hemorrhoids, the anal fissures where you get a split, constipation, and you get a split in the anal orifice, bruises, inflammation, and burns. So that's enough. Just a brief look at why this stuff is important, and we potentially have all of this stuff in our kitchen. So let's carry on with the in the kitchen. So there's my melted beeswax, and it was garlic and olive oil, and of course I've got my trusty garlic and olive oil that I made earlier, and I'm just going to add a bit of that. I don't know how much to add. And I'm going to add a little bit of honey too. So there we go, a bit of honey. And then I'm going to mix all of that in. I'm going to mix all that in together. Let's get rid of that. So you can see that it's gone quite hard, and that's the beeswax. I'm going to just beeswax and the honey, I think. I'm just going to warm it up a little bit, see if I can get it all melted in again together. Put it in the bain-marie to see if I can get it to melt a little bit again. It's on the spoon. So that's now, all the lumps have gone and it's melted again. So I'm going to leave that to cool down a bit and see what happens to the mixture. And see if it separates or stays together. Sometimes you have to whiz these things up to keep all the ingredients together, kind of locked in together. But I'll see what happens to this one. So this has gone firm now. You can see it's completely firm. And so this is basically anti-inflammatory and antioxidant cream, antimicrobial cream for candida, dandruff, bacteria, etc., spots. Yeah, so if I put my finger in it, it's firm. It's really firm. You see what that's done? See that? I'll zoom out again. So, and that's it on the finger. It does smell garlicky, so I guess if you're going to use it you know, you're going to use it, and when it's okay to be putting garlic smelling stuff on your skin. Yeah, but there you go. Great. So I hope that was interesting. So just a point of clarification. So a lot of the papers have got olive oil, honey, and beeswax, right? So they've got those three. And I just wanted to switch it up a little bit by adding the garlic and olive oil, which is going to give you the smelly stuff. But if you want to create something that doesn't smell of garlic, obviously just use olive oil. And that's something really simple to make. And I tend to add a few other things, coconut oil, shea butter, and things like that. But the research is mainly looking at those three ingredients, and they seem to be really quite powerful. So do give that a go, and you can make quite a lot of that. We go out and buy these expensive creams and stuff like that. Why not just make some yourself, and maybe add a bit of essential oil to that, give it a nice smell, and off you go for your face creams. In fact, I would say that it's not just for the face, because when you think about beeswax is the stuff that's if you get raw honey, you've got the honeycomb, and the honey. You can eat that honeycomb, can't you? So that's what the beeswax is made from. So you can. It's external and it's internal. So any questions on that? Any? Are you inspired to go and do it? Do let me know. Let's have a look at just a couple of slides. I know I snuck some into the middle of that video, but let's just have a look. A couple of slides on the face cream. What I'm loving about all of this stuff is it's in your kitchen. Yeah, you need to go out and get some beeswax, but I'm sure there's most places have the places that collect honey, and they'll have the beeswax as well. So there's one thing that's in the beeswax which is quite interesting. It's called D002, and there's been quite a lot of study done on D002, and it's shown to be anti-ulcer, so as in stomach ulcers, anti-inflammatory, and a study done on rodents shown it to be for indigestion and reflux. And this is something that pretty sure that we're going to hear a lot more of. It's non-alcoholic, so not related to alcohol, fatty liver disease. And I think there's an explosion of this happening. And this is partly because of grain, if you like, sugar intake. Because the liver has to deal with all of that. And remember the triglyceride level, the fat. So I know it seems counterintuitive, but you're eating grains and sugar and your fat goes up. That is actually what happens. You eat the grains and the sugar, your liver tries to deal with that, and you get the triglyceride level going up. And the fat, in a simplistic way, the liver doesn't know what to do with it, and it just sits in the liver, and it disrupts the liver. Sits in the liver, disrupts its normal function, and that can lead to liver cirrhosis and liver failure. When I trained and I qualified in 1990, I worked on a liver firm. I was a junior doctor on a liver firm, and St Mary's Hospital, in fact, in Paddington. And I never saw any people like this. The people that came through were either alcoholics or they got some genetic problem with their liver. I never saw this term 30 years ago. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease just wasn't a thing. Whereas now it's because there's an explosion in it. So, and I believe it's because of this. Well, it is because of its grains, sugars, and toxins. Because the toxins that come with the grains and the sugars, it's the liver that has to deal with all of that all at once, and it can't, and it fails at it. So anyway, not all doom and gloom. Chewing on a bit of beeswax probably help, and this D002 also helpful for osteoarthritis. So we need to perhaps source some good honey, local honey. They say local honey is better because particularly if you've got an allergic tendency, because then that's supposed to be more helpful for the pollen, the types of pollen, etc. For you. So most places, even London, has honey, local honey. So maybe source the local honey. Yes, honey, the bees, a lot of studies have shown that the poor bees also have toxins in them as well. But it's about balancing up how much toxins are in every bit of our environment, which bits are going to be also good for us. And honey's going to have a slight tilt for being good for us, isn't it? Given everything that I've said. I've just mentioned tiny little bits about honey. I could do a whole webinar on honey. And maybe I'll do that some other time. But for now, understanding that the beeswax bit is actually quite important. So, in summary, garlic, olive oil, honey, kombucha vinegar, and your beeswax. So basically you're going to create some salad dressing or some face cream or both, and either take them in orally or put them on your skin, or down below or wherever else you need to use it. Just build it in to your into your daily life. So any questions on that? One saying, where do you get beeswax? I think that you're going to get you'll get it online anyway. But I know certainly local to Brighton, there's several places that are selling honey and beeswax. So just search around, you'll get some beeswax. And Regina said made body cream with coconut oil and essential oil. So maybe add some of these ingredients, Regina, because they do seep through as well. Yeah, they're going to seep through the honey, the olive oil, of course. It's going to seep through. And Catherine said is inspired as ever. I'm gobsmacked myself, because basically what I'm saying is that apart from the beeswax, we've got all of this stuff in our kitchen, and it is very simple, very, very simple indeed. And it's as simple as creating salad dressing, isn't it? It's simple as creating salad dressing, and make sure if you're not that into lettuce, then put it on your vegetables, put it on your meat, put it on the rest of your food. It's still going to make it taste mighty good. I remember I really was not a fan of vegetables at all, lettuce at all. And went to France once, and in Brittany they have a Breton salad, which is warm salad dressing. And it was a revelation to me that salad could taste good. And so maybe try that. Just gently heat it. And if you're not really into the cold stuff, gently heat the salad dressing and then pour it on. I know we haven't talked about mustard, because mustard comes into it a lot with salad dressings, and maybe we'll cover that another time as well. So any more questions? The hour is almost up. Any more questions on that? Just say that next week we have got Dr. Stephen back again with a highly practical session on on the heart. It's his second session, and he's really looking at the practical aspects. He's going to be doing the activations, practical activations online with us on Skype. So don't miss that. He is doing it from a Christian perspective, but he does say that there's something there for everyone. And most people found it so useful. Even his overview was so useful. Everyone said, "I feel so relaxed now," and it really does focus our attention on what the heart is doing in our daily life. So he's going to be looking at the practice of engaging your heart. He's going to be doing that next week. It'll be Monday and not Tuesday, 7:30, same time, but on Monday. So do look out for the newsletter, and do share it with people that you think would find it useful, and do encourage people to sign up for the newsletter as well, so you don't miss any of the webinars. And remember that you can re-watch the webinar. So if you clicked on the Eventbrite link, that link actually should still work to watch the YouTube replay. Or if you want the actual link, then just email me. If you want the slides, email me, and I can also send those to you. Any other questions? Hope you enjoyed that. Let's wait to see if there are any more questions from anyone. Great. And then after that, after Dr. Stephen, it'll either be me again doing either a practical thing or back onto the hierarchy of health, or we may have one of our other speakers. We'll just see whether I can finally get a yes out of them. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. That's it for now, everyone. Remember, change starts with you. Be well.